goes to heaven Islam.
It would be very strange. One of us said they'd never had a nightmare before. I just had one last night. You know, I saw Squid Game. It gave me a nightmare. That's the truth.
Nightmares can often include, facing some of the most painful aspects of who we are. That you don't know what part that is until you confront it.
So we're talking about bad dreams. We all have bad dreams. But the minute we start using the terminology a nightmare, what really separates that clinically, you wake up from the nightmares.
Last night, when you were dreaming, you became flagrantly psychotic. Now, before you reject my diagnosis of your nighttime psychosis, let me give you 5 good reasons. First, when you were dreaming, you started to see things which were not there, so you were hallucinating. Secondly, you believed things that couldn't possibly be true, so you were delusional. Third, you became confused about time, place, and person, so you're suffering from disorientation. Fourth, you have these wildly fluctuating emotions, something that psychiatrists call being affectively labile. And then how wonderful, you woke up this morning and you forgot most, if not all, of that dream experience. So you're suffering from amnesia. If you were to experience any one of those 5 things while you're awake, you could be seeking psychological or psychiatric help. And for reasons that we're only now starting to understand, this seems to be a perfectly normal biological and psychological process at night.
Freshman year of college, I'm living with this girl, Kelly, and I just need to preface this with, we were really good friends. So I had seen the Halloween movies maybe a couple times. So I get like a knock on my door, as if I had woken up out of my sleep. Kelly is asleep. We had little peepholes, and I look through the peephole, and Michael Myers is on the other side of this peephole, right?
So when we talk about nightmares, I need to take a step back. So what is the broader topic of nightmares? Parasomnias. What are parasomnias? These are going to be unwanted emotions, behaviors, actions, thoughts, dreams that occur as you're falling asleep, as you're waking up, or transitioning between the different stages of sleep. How do I categorize parasomnia? One of the classic examples when we talk about a non-REM parasomnia, sleepwalking. Then we talk about REM parasomnias, things that happen in REM sleep. And now the answer is what? Nightmares.
One way of understanding the reason why children may have more nightmares is because they're closer to the unconscious than adults are. Their capacity for rational thought isn't fully developed. It's the old monster in the closet question. Kids experience monsters in the closet, monsters under the bed. It is a reality for them. In other words, the monster in the closet is a real monster in the closet because they haven't developed their rationality to the capacity where they are discounting the experience of the monster being in the closet.
Michael Myers is on the other side of this peephole, right? And he's like, isn't he known for the big knife, maybe a machete? I don't know. But he has 2 big butcher knives in his hand.
One way of thinking about a way to understand a nightmare is that it's an experience of a buildup of tension in the unconscious. In other words, there can potentially be dreams that come prior to nightmares that are almost like knocks on the door. Like there's something that wants to be brought into awareness. So there's this little kind of tap on the door through a dream image. And for whatever reason, we don't necessarily turn our attention to that, so the knock gets louder. So the image becomes more emotionally evocative. So what ends up happening is the knock gets louder and louder and louder until we have no other recourse but to turn our attention to it because it has terrified us. Dreams are about expanding consciousness, including the most authentic and genuine experience of yourself. Sometimes that includes facing painful aspects of who we are, and nightmares can present those painful aspects.
Nightmare
Nightmares are defined as dreams that produce a strong negative emotional response, such as fear or horror. Nightmare sufferers usually awake in a state of extreme distress, even to the point of a severe physical response. Racing pulse, sweating, nausea, and they often are unable to go back to sleep for some time. The cause of nightmares are varied. Children, because of their active imaginations, are prone to nightmares, some so severe that they wake up screaming and crying. Extreme incidents of these are also referred to as night terrors. Eating certain foods too close to bedtime can trigger a nightmare, as can viewing scary movies. Going to bed distressed about life circumstances or after a fight or argument can also cause nightmares because of the brain's continued activity during sleep. There is no doubt that nightmares can be extremely disturbing, but is there any spiritual significance to nightmares? Dreams and visions are mentioned in the Bible, and God sometimes used the dream state to communicate with his prophets and others. God spoke to Abimelech in Genesis chapter 20, warning him not to touch Abraham's wife Sarah. Other dreams, including Jacob's ladder, Joseph's dream that his brothers would serve him that led to his captivity in Egypt, as well as his interpretation of Pharaoh's dreams that led to his being made the second most powerful man in Egypt. The Lord or his angel appeared to others in the Bible, including Solomon, Nebuchadnezzar, Joseph, and Pilate's wife. None of these dreams, however, with the possible exception of Pilate's wife's dream, can really be called a nightmare. So it would appear that God does not usually speak to people through nightmares. Some people think Satan or demons are infiltrating their minds during nightmares, but there is no passage in the Bible to directly substantiate this. With the possible exception of a dream Eliphaz claimed to have, there are no biblical incidents of demonic forces communicating with people during dreams or nightmares. Nightmares are nothing more than the brain's way of contending with our fears and concerns as it continues to function during sleep cycles. If a Christian experiences continual, frequent nightmares that are interrupting sleep and causing emotional disturbance on a regular basis, perhaps medical help is in order.
Dream time. It's a really difficult thing to answer because dreaming is a really big thing for Aboriginal people. In fact, it takes a lifetime to learn. Some people say that the term dream time is not a correct translation of traditional terms like lalai, knitting, or jugaba. But I love the term dream time because it conjures up a magical, mysterious time. In Aboriginal culture, you will find that people, when they speak about these sacred matters or sacred beings, they begin to whisper because it's a way of paying respect. There's also the idea that God is unknowable, beyond words and human understanding. This is why the Wandjina paintings are painted with no mouths, because God is beyond our understanding.
Mirror is Juinian, and that means crocodile. My favorite Mirror word is Gai, which means grandma. My favorite word in Mirror is Vijayajap. It means swimming.
The land is Mirror land, and it's where the language come from, you know. There's language all around you. Everything we see has language. Everything that moves have language. All the food source and waters, rivers, they all have names. And that's how we can describe what it is, where it's something that a lot of people can't even describe today in English, you know. Kiramandan, Walanga, Yovaria.
In modern Australia, it's difficult for any minority language to survive. Wherever you have a language that is very dominant, smaller languages will struggle.
First person replies, Walat, Juija, Giliji Bin.
People always assume that language needs to start in the home, but what is happening now is these kids, they learn language at school or in kindergarten, and they bring words back home that their parents didn't know.
Modern things come, we just have to give it a name in Mirrong. Like when, the first car arrived in our country, Mirrong people gave it a name, Gurri. And that actually come from the sound that it make, gurr.
There is research that says Indigenous people learning their ancestral language are more likely to be successful in life, which means they are more likely to get a job, they're more likely to attend school. They're also less likely to struggle with substance abuse, they're less likely to commit serious crimes. Transferring language to these kids will help them live a better life. Language means identity, and where people identify with something that belongs to them, they grow stronger.
My grandfather and mother told me, don't throw your language away. Keep speaking up for it. I just hope our kids grow up and speak it, I feel happy and I say, good on you, speaking my own language, like me.